We're all looking forward to the day when the NBA can return to normal, but that might be a while down the road. I'm Sierra Goodwill here with Mike Petraglia. Conversations are happening now among commissioners of leagues about how we can possibly ease back into sports because the hiatus is not only detrimental to the economy, people are deprived of that sort of entertainment. The players need to earn their paychecks and such things like that. What, in your opinion, would a return for the NBA look like?
Well, Sierra, I may be in the minority in this regard. I don't want to see the NBA return until they get it right. And getting it right means reasonably allowing fans in arenas to watch the games, because I think it's critical for these players to be playing in buildings with fans cheering them and supporting them. And emotionally, it would give a signal that things are starting to return to normal. If you put on these games in one building, let's say out in Las Vegas, like they're considering, then I think it's a constant reminder that we're not through this crisis and you don't want to give the message that sports will never be the same. I think that is a terrible message to send. My feeling and my sense on all of this is don't return to sports until you can get it right. You
Right.
get it right, you allow fans back in the buildings safely, let them have fun, let them cheer on the players performing, and then the players can start to have a sense of normalcy returning. But to play these games in empty buildings, I don't think just to suffice and provide some type of television product for people watching at home, I don't think that is really what we should be thinking of at this point.
Right. And Marcus Smart and his Cantor have, and a bunch of other NBA players have come out and said if and when the NBA returns this season, there's going to have to be some sort of training camp or preseason
Absolutely.
period to ease them back into it because they can't go cold turkey. As we mentioned
No
in
way.
another video, Jason Tatum hasn't put a shot up in over 3 weeks. So what do you think they're going to be able to, how they're going to ease players back into getting up to full speed again?
Well, you're going to have some type of 2 to 3 week training period where these players aren't just getting used to playing basketball again. They're getting used to moving around at the level that elite athletes perform at, right? I mean, we're not talking about you and me getting on a tennis court or a golf course or something like that and stretching for 5 to 10 to 15 minutes, get warmed up and go out and have a casual round of golf or tennis, what have you. You're talking about elite performers performing at a very high stressed level. And that requires quite a bit of buildup, especially after they have stopped cold turkey. And I'm sure the NBA and all of these leagues are taking that into consideration. And there would have to be some type of training period, extensive training period, to get these athletes up to speed. Once that happens, then I think you can start having those discussions about how to engage in professional competitions.
Right. And I think, well, ESPN released an article about the MLB's possible return, and the NBA has talked about kind of modeling that, where essentially you're quarantining or isolating these teams to a certain geographical location, separating them from their families. Does that seem realistic to you?
No, no. And I think there was a former Brian, I can't remember his name, Brian Anderson, who said that there is no way that players would agree to being on a 4 and a half month hiatus from their families and their loved ones. That just is not practical. No way. And the emotional toll that would take would match, I think, what we're all going through as a society right now. I don't think that is really the way to go. I would be on board for playing exhibition games in the NBA or in MLB or in hockey where you have empty arenas and these players can play what would be glorified preseason or spring training games if it's baseball. That I don't have as big a problem with. Because that would be a way of scrimmaging and getting the bodies back up to speed. But again, when you're talking about performing at a very high level and the games count in some type of championship standing, then I want fans in the stands to watch that, enjoy that. And again, that only happens when we're far enough down the road, whether it's 2 to 3 months from now, where society can start to feel normal and start to feel safe again. If society is not at the point where we're safe going out and going through our typical errands and course of life, then I don't think the games should be filled with stands. The games should be filled with people in the stands.
Right. Well, I'm sure we'll continue to have this conversation as more ideas and developments come out about how to resume sports. But for all the rest of our Celtics content, head to our website at clnsmedia.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel at CLNS Media.